while we're waiting for this to warm up, let's introduce a couple of our Chase. Who here is from Chase? Is the entire room going to stand up? We've got Dell and probably a couple other people I should recognize. Welcome, Dell. You want to say hello to the group?
Hello, everybody.
Oh, by the way, I said Chase. I apologize.
Used to be at Chase.
I got Chase on the brain. No longer with Chase,
That's
now
right.
with
Homebridge.
Homebridge. Good, I was going to say Newbridge, so.
So we brought some coffee. If you guys want some coffee in the bag, and I just wanted to introduce our team. We were previously with Chase, all three of us at one point. So I was with Chase for 14 years. This is Yolanda Phillips.
Hi, everybody.
And this is George. So thanks for allowing us to be here.
You're welcome.
We made a move from Chase to Homebridge, and basically we're a one-stop shop. Every single mortgage needs that your clients may need. We have a home for. We have about 45 investors that we work with. You know, from a government side, also from a jumbo, non-QM type of business. And just recently, we also introduced, you know, a new product that came out. So if you have self-employed customers that don't report their income, we just rolled out a bank statement program. So give us a call for more details.
There you go. So welcome Dell and his team. You might want to consider maybe changing the jacket color.
That
is
is,
that what it is?
That-
It's the blue and
It's the blue. It's just, if you get Chase on the brain, you know, maybe go with the brown or
Just
or,
like
or
Yolanda?
black.
I'll never wear blue again.
Yeah, well, there you go. See, I knew you weren't from Chase. I could tell right away. So, anyway, all right, guys, we got a lot of stuff we're going to cover this morning, and I'm not even going to cover 90% of it. We're going to blow through this PowerPoint and take a look at another PowerPoint. But, oops, sorry, get rid of that. So, at any rate, welcome to our October sales meeting. We are a little bit late. We've got a couple of new people. John's, were you at our last sales meeting, John?
No, I had just
Welcome to
started
your
it.
first sales meeting.
Thank you.
So, John from Rio Valley. I don't think Christina's here. I think you guys might have met Christina last month from Redlands. We do have Marjorie. Where's Marjorie at? Oh, we got Keenan. Welcome, Keenan. Keenan's joining Steven's team with, I don't know, man, we're going to have to build another wing on the office or a second story. You keep bringing these people on. So, welcome, Keenan. Marjorie from Redlands isn't here. I thought she was going to be here. Okay, well, she'll be here in a little bit.
Hey, Rachel knows right
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry, Rachel. That's right. I was thinking you were Marjorie for just a second. Rachel is not on our slide, though. So shame on us for not getting it. Oh, how could I forget? You've got your name and everything right here. So welcome, Rachel. And we have new business cards? All right. Look at us. We're doing great. I got to tell you, the recruiting is off the hook. We've kind of talked about this in one of our business planning classes, but I don't know whether, I always consider market conditions, or at least part of market conditions, based upon people's interest to get into this business. If people's interest to get into this business, John and Rachel, and well, Keenan's been in the business for a long time, and others, is any indication of where the market's going, we should all be very, very happy, because there is a boatload of people that want to get into this business. We'll talk a little bit about this. Did anybody go to the CAR Expo, by the way, last week? There was 9,000. By the way, shame on me for not promoting that a little bit more. Most of the stuff at the CAR Expo was free. Okay? If you're a CAR member, paying your dues, probably, Wayne was there, 80% of the classes, just walk on.
Even a lot of the paid ones you could just walk in.
There you go. The value and the content at that expo was off the hook. I mean, it was probably the best expo, and I've been to all of them. It was probably the best expo that I have seen in years, and shame on us for not promoting it internally a little bit more. And to be honest, I'll say the same thing about the Gem Blue. Even though the Gem Blue conference was $400, the venue was a little different, but there was some pretty good content there. But if you wanted to save the $400 and you wanted to get some valuable content, and at the same time, there she is. There's Marjorie. Everybody, Marjorie, everybody. Say hi. Just either grab a chair, or just mingle around the back. That's fine. Make yourself at but at any rate, the content of both of these was great. But I think we missed an opportunity. If you were trying to save $400, you missed an opportunity by not going to Expo. Again, there was 9,000 people there. The last year, I don't think we've had 9,000 people at a CAR Expo in probably over 10 years. So again, it kind of shows the interest on what's going on. Not to mention there was some really, really good stuff there. So, at any rate, if you don't have a YouTube channel, get one. If you don't like us on Facebook, please do. Follow us on Instagram. Or we're not ready for the sales awards. The screen's blank. Stacy had a hiccup with the reports for September. I apologize. So if you're looking for a plaque this morning, you're going to have to wait a little bit. We got to figure those out.
I apologize. Stay
Stacy's-
tuned.
Yeah, Stacy's fault.
It is my fault.
Always forgiven.
We had a computer hiccup, a glitch.
Casey's mom's
We got a few birthdays. Oh, we got a bunch of birthdays this month.
Bunch of them are on Monday.
Michael
Yeah,
Boab.
my wife's birthday was yesterday, along with Tom and Rob. I haven't seen Robert in a while. How's Robert doing?
We saw him at Mike's party.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he attends the important events. By
He
the
does
way,
his
was at Mike's party
prospecting
last
at
week.
BJ's.
Okay, have you all got your coupons for Betty Ford? Just a little bit. I got a couple phone calls from Mike's party, like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What time did that thing start? Noon. Yeah, by 2 o'clock, whoever was in the room appeared to be half of the bag. Anyway, happy birthday to everybody who's here. We got some anniversaries. 9 years. That's all right, Jeff?
Wow.
Is that right? 9 years? Holy cow.
Seems like it's been longer.
I think it's 10, but
gotta
I
be
could be
longer than
wrong.
Well, same thing with Jay. Jay's been here for probably 9 years, hasn't he?
Well, Jay left for.
Well, but so we didn't grandfather in that. At any rate, if you've been here for a while, happy anniversary. Same thing with Wilson. Wilson kind of left. We have a habit of that, so if you're thinking about leaving the office,
Hold on to your business cards.
yeah, keep your business cards. 'Cause a lot of people leave us come back.
Grandfather.
So Jay left and came back. Wilson left and came back. Mike's left 4 times and has come back.
4 times.
So
Keep your name back.
yeah, hang on to your name badge and your cards. You never know what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to skip the market data stuff because I got some other stuff we're going to look at. Okay, SkySlope. If you have a transaction in SkySlope, matter of fact, I'm going to pull this up for everybody's viewing pleasure. To my knowledge, I think most of the people who have a transaction in SkySlope right now are in this office. It appears as though the other offices have done a little bit better job on exiting everybody out of SkySlope. This is the deal, and I'm going to do this because at least 2 or 3 of you in this room have a transaction in SkySlope right now. Come Friday, October 17th, SkySlope is going away, okay? If you have a transaction in SkySlope and you still need access to it, that's fine. And we'll still have access to all those transactions, all the documents, we'll have access to it for many moons to come. However, if you are, Jay, are you in the room?
Nope.
Jay, Eric Fisher, Stephen Amaya, Chris Leeper, Dwayne Sanders, and Vicky. So there's 9 transactions left in SkySlope. I think 7 of those 9 people I just named. If you're in the room, or let's see, what are we looking at? Tonican, Prado, Willow Creek, Red Mahogany, Tasman, or Red Bark. Are any of those transactions closing before Friday?
Yes.
They are. Okay, if the answer to that is yes, don't worry about it. We're going to finish them through SkySlope, and we're going to take care of business in SkySlope. If they do not close by Friday, so if there's any extensions, or if you just know flat out that Tonican is not closing, we are going to transfer all of your current documents out of SkySlope and put them into loading docks. You don't have to touch them. But if they are closing, and Selene's shaking her head yes, and Eric's got one closing. So this is, but please, I need to know this. If it doesn't close, if you know tomorrow, or actually you probably know today, right? So it's closing for sure, barring an earthquake or a deed getting
Just
pulled
waiting
from
on
the
buyer's
recorder's.
funds for funding.
Okay. All right, if it's not going to close by Friday, please let me know, because come Friday, even if you're just a whisper away, we're going to pull all that stuff out, we're going to put it in loading docks, and we are basically going to archive everything in SkySlope. So, and again, just so you know, you'll have access, you don't have to freak out. You'll have access to all that stuff. So, all right, good. So let me go back to where I was.
Lance,
Yes,
the red bark that Vicky has in there, we also have over in loading docks.
you are, okay. Well, thank you. If you are ready, if you have, Eric,
Yeah.
since you were nodding affirmatively and Selene too, are your transactions that are in Sky Slope also in loading docks?
I believe so.
Theirs are not,
Theirs are not.
correct.
Who's theirs?
Willow Creek and Prado are not.
Okay, and you know that for sure. Are you TCing those?
Yeah.
Oh. By the way, Janet does a bunch of TCing. I didn't realize you were doing Eric stuff too. Oh,
Yeah.
look at you, just picking up business all over the place.
Gotta eat, gotta eat.
Okay, okay, so if it is in Sky Slope, excuse me, in loading docks, would you please shoot me an email or something that says it is, because we're gonna pull those out.
Okay.
Bottom line is, I'm shutting Sky Slope down. It costs me a lot of money a month to keep it. Loading docks cost a lot of money a month to keep it, and there's no sense in paying double for a product that we're no longer using. So, and we have some new people, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's okay. We're gonna go over that later.
Lance, if, like, so Red Mahogany is closing next week, so any documents that I have between now and then, do you want me just to send into loading docks even though
Correct.
it's not in there yet?
Correct.
Okay.
Send anything that you haven't already submitted into Sky Slope, send to loading docks. Anything that's already in Sky Slope, we will pull out for you and put into loading docks.
Card.
Okay?
Weekend?
Perfect. All right, thank you. This is, for now, this is still how you get stuff into loading docks. I'll give you guys another brief, and we're gonna be harping on this. I hate to use the word harping, but we're gonna be harping on this just a little bit. I'll give you just a quick example of kind of where we're at and what we're seeing. Who's been getting texts from me like in the middle of the night that says, hey, I'm just trying to update a report, is this escrow gonna close this month? Yeah, everybody in this room should be getting texts. The reason you're getting texts from me like that is because we don't have any information that's giving me, and most of the time you're getting a text like that because what I have in my system says the escrow was supposed to close 4 days ago and you haven't been paid yet. If you've got an escrow that's closing a month out or something like that, I'm not really bothering you. But in loading docks, let me share with you how easy it is for Dwayne and I to figure out what the heck's going on. Somebody, hey David, turn off those lights for a second so we can see this a little bit better. Okay, this is a partial of what's going on in the Moreno Valley office. There's no agents' names on here. Maybe you'll recognize an address that might be yours or so. But this is part of my challenge. Everything, who knows Equator?
Yep.
Okay. One of the things that you may love or hate about Equator is if you get a red ball in Equator, that's bad news. And you're freaked out because whoever you're working for, the asset manager, whoever it is, when they see a red ball, it affects your scorecard and you're going to lose business. Well, let's kind of pretend for a moment that this is Equator. This is the red ball, 28, 32, 14, 57. Whoever's got Via Amate is gonna, well actually this is probably a bad one because this one looks like it should have closed a long time ago. Kicking Horse. Kicking Horse is supposed to close escrow on Friday, and this dirtbag agent has not submitted one document into loading docks. Drew.
Hey, it's got your name all over it.
This is the deal. It's very easy for Dwayne and I to look at this report really quick. And by the way, if you're if you're logging into the portal, and if you're looking at loading docks, it's very easy for you to see because all you'll see is your transactions. And if you look at the red column, you'll see that you've got 54 documents that are late. Okay? Submit them. And if you can't submit them because they don't apply or there's a reason why, just shoot us a note that says, hey, I'm waiting on something, or these 5 documents don't even apply, they're not applicable. So,
How do we shoot you the note?
well, we're working on that as far as how do you get it into Sky Slope? Or excuse me, I'm sorry. How do you get it into loading docks? One of the things that I don't like yet about loading docks that I did like about Sky Slope is you could put a little note on the side that says, hey, there is no counteroffer, not applicable. Loading docks does not have the same feature. So we're working on a way to do that. You can load a form. Who's loading their own stuff in here, by the way? Anybody? Debbie is? Okay, if you're loading in your own stuff, or if you're TCing for somebody else, you can just have a form, just a letterhead that says this form is not applicable. Keep it on the clipboard and just load it into those things, because that's what we're going to do. That's basically getting us a message that says this form is not applicable. We'll clear it off. It'll go from red to green. This is what you want, by the way. You want all green. Okay, we're not going. Who's worked at a real estate office that when you close a transaction, if you didn't have a completed file, you wouldn't get paid?
Yep. Moreno.
We don't do that,
Yes, we do.
should we?
Yes.
Did I hear a bunch of yeses out there?
Yes.
Wow.
Debbie said yes.
She's
At
been
any
there 9
rate,
years.
I always thought that's how it was. We didn't get paid.
that's how it is, Debbie.
Okay. Got it.
Don't let anybody tell you any differently. At any rate, help me out with this. Hopefully the system's gonna make this life a little bit easier for everybody, and we'll see what we can do here. Okay, if I'm going really fast, it's because there's just a whole bunch of stuff I want to do and I haven't even started yet. Okay, so here's what we got going on with loading docks. Too much training, or just right, or not enough?
Good.
Just right.
Because we're training just
Too
right.
much.
Because I'm exhausted. We've been doing training 4 days a week.
Too
I
Too
gotta
much.
tell you,
Too
I'm pretty
much.
happy with the way it's going so far, though. Mondays, by the way, we do train on Mondays.
Right.
I know everybody's kind of just ingrained that Thursday, 1 o'clock in this office. We are doing Mondays, 1 o'clock in the Redlands office, but I gotta tell you, the webinar thing seems to, who's logged on to a webinar? Good experience, bad experience?
Good.
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 Pretty well.
Okay. It's not, I would agree with pretty well. It's not perfect. Sometimes the audio gets a little funky.
Mm-hmm.
But don't forget, check the schedule. Maybe the Monday class in Redlands might be valuable. I will tell you though, we're getting somewhere between 5 and 15 additional people in all the training classes. Norm. Drew was telling me yesterday that the class we did yesterday, we had, 16 people on the webinar?
Yeah, it was like 15 or 16.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's why we're doing it. You don't have to be in Claremont to participate in that, which, by the way, the RPA class is today at 1 o'clock at 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're doing page 42. So, that was Joe. Page 7.
7 and 8, I think.
So at any rate, hopefully you guys are getting some value out of that. Oops, Gen Blue's, well, Gen Blue was great. I gotta tell you, I was kind of poo-pooing it, the location and the venue, but it was probably, other than the venue wasn't great, but it was good. We'll have more content. I will give you
Well, you
guys
don't have to
2
go to all
little
of them.
samples. We're not gonna go through them today. We'll probably go through them next week or the following week.
Pick and
There are
choose.
2 really cool things that'll be coming out in the next, 3 to 6 months? One of them is they're redoing the online platform, basically the public-facing website. It's more than just a little fluff up. It looks pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with it. I think we had mentioned in this meeting, actually there's 3
Well, with
things.
the website too, they can take a look at it if they want, remember?
Yeah, there's a beta site.
Yeah, it's like beta.cobaltbanker.com, and you
Right.
can look at what it's going to look like.
Yeah, we'll get all that information and put it together. I'm still recovering from last week. I was in meetings for endless hours, Monday through Friday of last week. But there is a beta site, you can take a look at it. We had also mentioned in this meeting that the acquisition of Zip was not going to be available. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Coldwell Banker Corporate acquired Zip Realty, and we thought that was going to mean great things for us. And then I was told, well, no, it's not going to mean great things. It's basically going to only be available to certain Coldwell Banker offices. Well, last week they said, no, it is going to mean great things. They have this is not available yet. It'll probably be first quarter of next year. They have an app which basically will replace Lead Router, okay? One of the problems that I always see with Lead Router is, for those of you that loved Lead Router or hated Lead Router, one of the challenges with Lead Router is you had to go into the website, you had to update the lead, right? You had to take the time and do the extra thing to do it, which was the Achilles heel of Lead Router in many, many ways. Now, there's an app for that, okay? So you'll basically have, and I'm oversimplifying this, but there will be, and they're not calling it Lead Router, right? What are they calling it? Zap or something?
Yeah, Zap.
It's going to be called Zap. The word Lead Router will basically fade off to oblivion. We'll still have Lead Router at the back end. You guys will never hear or see of it again. But you'll have an app called Zap. And you'll basically have access to your leads, and then with a push of a button from your app, you'll be able to update those leads, accept those leads, and you'll never have to log in and screw around with, red balls and green balls and all the rest of that sort of stuff. So, having said that, if there's a couple brand new people in the room, if you've heard about Lead Router and you say, wait a minute, it's going away, it's not going away. It's just going to basically be repackaged. I think it's going to be pretty cool. If it's half as cool, and I'm not impressed by these things, to be honest with you. Normally I go to these things and they roll out something that's new and I'm like, okay, whatever. That's not so great. This could be pretty cool, okay? More to follow on that. And then the third thing, which again, when is the CMA thing coming out? Is that this year or next?
CMA?
Yeah, where they kind of have the mobile CMA where you can do the
Oh,
adjustments.
the CBX thing?
CBX.
I think that's before the end of the year.
Okay, there's another program that's coming out. If you are a listing agent or a wannabe listing agent, they have a new app which will basically assist you on your listing presentations, your pre-listing presentation and the listing presentation yourself, which is pretty cool. You know, I've never seen anything quite like it before. I'm waiting to get the PowerPoint so we can actually demo it. I can't really explain it and do it any justice. But there is a new, basically, listing presentation tool, that is going to be available. And I think that's going to be by the end of the year. And again, I am not normally impressed by these things, and I wasn't doing backflips, but it was the type of tool that I would use. So if I was doing a listing presentation, it's called CBX. So if you happen to see something that comes in from the corporate office and it's labeled CBX, that's what I'm talking about. So at any rate, more to follow on all those things. Get your license if you haven't already. Who's using our magazine? Cool. Wow, that's good. What's our number now? Are we above 10? Double digits? Double digits.
Double D.
All right. If you don't know what our e-magazine is, it's cool, it's free, you should use it. Okay? So for all of you brand new people who aren't using it or don't know what it is, talk to me, talk to Ingrid, talk to Stacy, we'll get you a copy of it, and it's free and it's nice. Janet, did you have a question?
On one of the introductory things, it said you have to have your own website.
Right.
So like your own www, this is me, right?
I think we changed that. Did we change that? We're hosting the e-magazine now?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
I'm getting the URL ready for that.
Yes, if
Okay,
for those of you that said, I don't want to do it because I don't have my own website, that is no longer a problem.
very good,
You can
thank
do
you.
it. Good. All right, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, don't worry about it. If you want to use the e-magazine, we'll send you the link, it works just fine. It's nice. Business planning, I'm doing some business planning today with Marjorie. Been doing a lot more business planning classes, it seems like, over the last couple months. Pretty excited about that. So if anybody needs help with that, see Dwayne, see me, we'll do some business planning. Dennis is here, we don't have time to let him say anything. Summer's doing rocking, we're closing a bunch of stuff, we're opening a bunch of stuff. Thank you, everybody that's supporting us grow, it's nice, appreciate it. Property management, same thing. $50 for Make-A-Wish, $50 for Wounded Warrior. Weren't we doing, by the way, who went to the baseball thing? Anybody?
Aaron could in this office, and then
Aaron.
and
It was a little short
Tried
notice,
to get
but
tickets.
for those of you that went, it was pretty cool. Ingrid posted some stuff on her Facebook page. I didn't make it myself. We gave everybody about 4 days notice, but from what I understand, it was pretty nice.
yeah.
So we're gonna do another
We're
potluck
gonna do,
thing.
we're gonna do a luncheon, it should be in November at Camp Pendleton, we're just trying to get a confirmation.
Okay. For those of you that are interested, if you didn't hear Ingrid, we're gonna do another luncheon in Camp Pendleton before Thanksgiving, it sounds like. So we'll give everybody hopefully a little more notice than we did the last time. And there's Alfred. Okay, so I want to share this with you. I was at the Sierra meetings last week. I have a 128-page PowerPoint.
Big one.
This is, by the way, Dwayne, did you go to this luncheon where they did this presentation?
Not the luncheon,
The
no.
forecast? Okay, this presentation is on the portal right now. Okay, this is a 128-page PowerPoint. We're not gonna go through and analyze every slide. We're gonna skim through probably 90 of them. But there is going to be at least 10 slides in here, which you guys, everybody in this room should find useful to your business, okay? Whether you're working with a buyer or a seller, this is already loaded on the portal. You don't have to ask for it. Go to the portal, go to resources, go to market data, and there's a folder called something. If you can't find it, let me know, or talk to Stacy. But there's a bunch of cool stuff in here. We all should be a little excited. Who feels good about what's going on in the market? Am I the only one? Everybody feeling good? Everybody nervous? Yeah. Yeah? Who's nervous?
Me.
I'm nervous too, but I feel good. This was, I know nobody gets the Press Enterprise anymore. This is last Friday's newspaper. Anybody see the article, last Friday's Press Enterprise? Who said yes? Mike? Mike's the only one who reads the paper in the office. Me and Mike, we're the only ones. If you don't read the paper, Get the paper anyway. Subscribe to PE.com. This is stuff that you need to have in your, this is stuff you guys need to know. I fall off the face of the planet, you gotta get this information somewhere. Real estate experts say surge, not over. That's the headline. Basically, what this article is about was about what was going on at the CR meetings last week, and none other than the illustrious Christopher Thornburg and a couple other people on the panel said, for those of you that are thinking that the market has bottomed out and bubbled and is going to pull back, you're wrong. And the economy still seems a little sluggish, still seems a little stuck in the mud. But according to Chris, who I trust, he may be wrong, and then my business plan may suffer from it. But this guy basically is saying, relax. You know, things are actually a lot better than they actually may feel or appear. And he is saying that the real estate market is still set to continue to surge. And the way he put it was not just going to trickle along. We've been kind of saying property values are going to kind of plateau and flatten out a little bit. And frankly, the September numbers do indicate that. Chris Thornburg is saying, guys, you're not looking at the right data. And he talks about things like, you know, imports and exports and shipping containers in Long Beach. So at any rate, this is a really good article. I would suggest that you use this. Now, depending upon who you want to show this to, I don't know. Maybe you only show this to buyers, try to get them off the fence, and say, hey, you better buy now because values could continue to go up. Oh, what's interest rates today? 4?
3875.
3875.
Sub 4%. Guys, good Lord. Sub 4% interest rates. We're not selling tens of thousands of houses a month. I don't get it. I just don't get it. You know? And frankly, I don't know that the consumers get it. Their interest rates are going to stay low. By the way, who's going to this TEDx thing at the Fox Theater in Riverside? Is that tomorrow? I think we should, I'm going to go to this. If anybody wants to know what it's all about, and check it out. It's not real estate related, by the way. It's just kind of a business thing. Anybody watch those TEDx videos? Pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're doing a TEDx Riverside thing. There's a couple of cool speakers there. It is $50 or $90, I guess, depending upon where you sit. But anyway, I think I'm going to spend my morning there over there tomorrow. So, at any rate, what's that?
What is it?
Basically, if you do a YouTube search on like TEDx videos, they have all sorts of speakers from CEOs of every type, every walk of life, talking about everything. You know, how to raise your kids, to how to run a business, to how to think positively, to whatever. It's generally business-oriented type stuff. So I frankly had never heard of it myself. I don't know who introduced it. Somebody, I was at a meeting somewhere and said, oh, you got to see this TEDx from Steve Jobs or something like that.
Very good.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And you do just search YouTube TEDx, and there'll be hundreds of those things that pop up, and then you can kind of pick the speakers. So anyway, they're doing one in Riverside. We'll check it out. Okay, this is the forecast from CAR. That was last week. I'm going to go through this really, really quickly. This is, let me see if I can get this. Oops. Okay. This is, by the way, there is some of these slides which, contrary to what I've been kind of building up, is all positive. Some of these things are not all positive. Okay, there's some things here that say, okay, yeah, that doesn't sound so great. But at any rate, this is just kind of a pointer on it. Try to follow along. This is what we sold last year, actual sales in California. 414,000 units were sold. CAR thought in 2014 we were going to sell 444, which would have been a 3.2% increase. Well, guess what? Sales are what? Sales are down, all right? They're projecting now we're going to sell about a 380,000 level of homes in California, which would be at 8.2% fewer houses than what we sold in 2014. Not necessarily great news, okay? So from a standpoint of unit sales, yeah, it's a little disappointing. Who is disappointed that they wish they would have sold more houses so far this year? Everybody's hands are going. Of course, we all want to sell more houses this year. I got to tell you, my business plan did not account for an 8 point. By the way, those numbers, this is California. but if you translate those to Riverside, San Bernardino County, which we're gonna show here in a minute, they're pretty close. Riverside sales are down by about 10%. San Bernardino County sales are down by, I think it's 14%, 13%. We're gonna see a little bit later. So that's a little tough. Some of that has to do maybe with rising values, the affordability isn't as great, but there's some other slides in here which I think will give a different explanation for that. Good news is property values are what? Up. We were at 407, CER thought it was gonna be 432. We're actually at, for the state, up to medium of 455,000, which is an 11% increase from the 407. So that's pretty good. CER also thought interest rates were gonna do what? They've done what? Basically stay more or less the same. And that's 4.3, that's where they feel it's gonna end in December. Right now, we're still at some, which by the way, everybody seemed to think it. I think a year ago, I've been saying for a long time, at some point, interest rates are what?
Gonna go up.
They're gonna go up. I don't know what point that is, but apparently it's not this year. And according to Janet Yellen, front page of the business section 2 weeks ago, it's not next year either. Okay? By the way, why is gasoline prices low? Middle East is blowing up, my God. I mean, who's in charge of anything?
They said
Oil
oil
supply.
here.
Huh?
They said
We have oil here.
Yes.
That's what
I'm
they
not
say.
smart enough to figure
They
that out,
say.
but the last time we started
Yeah.
going and blowing stuff up in the Middle East, oil prices were going through the roof. Now the Middle East is as in much turmoil as it's ever been, and we got gas prices are low.
Go figure.
I can't figure it out. Maybe it's, who's been to Vegas lately?
No.
Maybe it's that gigantic bird killer on the left of State Line. That's whatever that is, that gigantic power solar collector. I don't know what it is, but gas prices are down, interest rates are down. The
Don't
world is
complain.
beautiful. Anyway, this is something I thought was interesting. I did this presentation in the Redlands office on Monday. Since we got a couple lenders in here, I'm curious to see if you guys can back this up. Apparently, in California, the average FICO score last year was 738, which I sounded a little high to me.
Way high.
It's way
This is California. Again, maybe in Inland Empire it's a little bit different. They're saying that the average FICO for the end of, I guess they didn't make a prediction, but now they're saying the average FICO is gonna be 726. I'm curious for the lenders in the room, what would you say the average FICO is on a transaction that we've closed this year? I know it's tough to say if you don't have the numbers in front of you, just guess.
About 660, I would say.
Yes?
800.
800, that is only deals with good quality, but we only give Dennis the easy ones. So somewhere in the mid sixes, sounds a little. 680, okay. Well, again, this is California, maybe up north or Silicon Valley, they've got 800 FICO scores, who knows? So anyway, I thought this was interesting. Again, I don't know whether this is a slide that you would find valuable to put in your presentation or not, but I think it's interesting for business planning. Mortgage rates are low. By the way, if you see something that's interesting, you can either stop me or just know that you can go back to the portal and you can check it out anytime. I'm gonna blow by so many of these things, we just don't have time for it. Home sales, again, this kind of gets back to that trend. Home sales, basically the projection was down for actual sales, 8.2%. This is a nice slide. I like this. I think this is a slide that you could probably put in all of your listing presentations, okay? If you don't put it in your listing presentations, you might at least want to put it into your business plan to figure out what type of business you're doing. What percentage of my business plan focuses on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and foreclosures right now?
Hopefully 0.
Minimal.
1%.
Thank God, because it was, how long does this go back? This goes back to 2009?
It was July of 9, maybe 8.
These were REOs 2 years ago, and frankly, back at this point in time, my REO part of my portfolio was probably larger than 60%. If you're focused on REOs or short sales right now, it's less than 5% of a California market. Is it a little higher than Inland Empire? Yes, okay? But our equity sales, which is why we all should be excited. A few years ago, if you weren't working with buyers or if you weren't working with a bank, you know, it sucked because we had, the equity sales were ridiculous. We had 30% of equity sales 5 years ago. And in this area, it was probably less than 10, right? Now you can actually go ahead. Stephen, how many listings have you taken this month? 10. There's sellers out there willing to sell, and they have equity, all right? So this is a nice chart. I really, really like this, and the trend seems to be continuing. Percent of total sales, we'll go through that later. Actually, I think there's a thing for Rivers, yeah, here we are.
That's Central Valley.
No, this is not us. Where's Riverside? Here we go. Percentage of total sales, August 14th to August 12th, distressed sales. We were at 52%, which I think is low in Riverside County. In our area, it's probably closer to 80. Now it's 11. If you're doing business in San Bernardino, it was 50, now it's 14. And I think these numbers are, this is probably pretty close. I would say right now, the number of distressed transactions being done in our area is somewhere probably around 10, 11%. Okay? We did a class preview. Who's soliciting short sale business right now? 2 of you? I think that might not be a bad model, right? Because a lot of people don't want to mess with it. You know, why go take the short sale listing if I've got, you know, if I can go take a standard sale? Who's been on the Haynes directory in the last 7 days? A couple of you? Well, you can find short sales on the Haynes directory. You can physically search them out. Maybe go out there and maybe that's a model for, or maybe you're just like, I forget, you kidding me? I don't have anything to do with it. But at any rate, the numbers are lower, which generally is good. Change of sales by price range. I don't know what this is.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's nice, super cool. I guess basically you can look at, you know, you pick your price range. We're, for all intents and purposes, we're the red line or we're the yellow line. In the state, this is the percentage of our sales. So I guess 28% of the sales in the state are under 200 and another, whatever that is, 6.5% are. So it looks like about 34% of the sales in California are below 300,000. Now, our area, that number is probably closer to 80%, right, of the sales. So go past that. Pricing. This chart scares me just a little bit. There's a lot of problems with our marketplace. Does this chart look familiar to anybody? Mm-hmm. We've had this on the screen for the last 5 years. Green line, United States, red line, California. I was talking to somebody about this in this room, I think. Basically, we used to track, up until about 1970, the price in California was about the same as it was in Chicago, Florida, just as far as the median is concerned. Then we started to separate, we went kind of bananas. Then in the mid-90s, we got a little bit of a reality check. Who was selling real estate in the 90s and selling foreclosures and short sales and all the rest of that? Janet, Dwayne, Dennis, a few of you guys out there. And then, of course, we had
I'm
this
sorry, you're with who?
problem, right? Okay. Then we came back down to reality.
Step out of a meeting.
As much as we all want property values to go up, and as much as we all want a normal real estate market, does that look a little scary?
Yeah.
It looks a little scary. And again, I just said a minute ago, my man crush, Chris Thornburg, what did he say? Surge. So I don't know. If there's one chart in this presentation that makes me nervous, that's it. Especially given the fact that the unit sales are what they are. So, at any rate, I guess you call that a recovery in property values in the state of California, right? Have we seen a recovery in property values in Moreno Valley? Riverside? Anybody want to buy a condo at Lakeview Sunbeam? Well, you better have 100 grand. A year ago, you could have bought one for 40. I'm not sure they're worth 100, but I have 2. And I'm going to sell them for 100 grand. So anyway, we'll see. So this is a kind of a little interesting, little scary one. Median price, we can skip over these. Let's see if we can find someone if they see San Bernardino or Riverside stuff. Did I miss something?
There's San Bernardino.
I'm looking for Riverside to begin with. Oh, here, down at the bottom. Okay. Riverside County. Okay. CAR has said the bottom of the market was, is this what this says? Yeah, I think this says, they're calling the bottom of the market at April 2009 in Riverside County. I don't know if do I agree with that? No. I don't agree with that? I don't think I've been saying that. I think I've been saying like 2010 or 11. No, not 8. But at any rate, according to the data that they have, this was the bottom. This is where we're at now. We've seen an 85% jump in property.
June 09.
June of '09, well, June, April.
Yeah.
I mean, that's close enough. So we've been throwing up charts for a long time. Values are going up 50%, 40%, whatever it happens to be. If you want the historical long, so that, again, this might be part of your listing presentation, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. By the way, according to the State of California Association of Realtors, property values in our area have gone up 85%. We did a cold calling night a couple weeks ago, which if you participated in, and part of the theme of the call basically was, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. We were trying to call people that had basically bought within the last 4 years. And said, hey, you may not be aware of this, but property values in your area have gone up 45% in that period of time. Maybe we should have changed the script. Maybe we should have said, hey, you may not be aware, but from the trough, according to the California Association of Realtors, property values in the Riverside
Look
County.
at California, 95.8
80, right?
Well,
For the state,
for the state.
right.
but it had to, because it went down 95.8.
Well, actually, it went down more than that.
Went down
You gotta remember,
105.
when you have a house
That's bad.
that was selling for 500,000,
Uh,
that is now selling for 245. Well, here was selling, let's say, for that $500,000 property, we were selling for 2.
Mhm.
Well, in order to get back to 500,000, it has to go up 150%. 150% increase from 200,000 gets you back to 500. So when you look at this going up to 95%, you got to go back to this chart. You got to go back.
Just under
You got to go
400.
back here. If you want to get back to here, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
We got to go up at least another 50% in property values, which again still kind of scares the hell out of me. But in there, this may be a chart that you want to use. Riverside County property values from trough have gone up 85%. Not bad. San Bernardino, 73.7%. So there you go. Maybe you like that. By the way, is this valuable to anybody, or am I putting you to sleep?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, good. If you're going to sleep, then
Well, I mean, just
Don't
look
snore.
at the state's also 171%.
Santa Barbara was up. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, another one, what's the county, okay, well, check this out. San Luis Obispo, it is interesting to point out, Humboldt County only went up 16. San Luis Obispo, let's look at the small ones. And I don't know how relevant this is to our conversation, but,
There was Santa Barbara on that.
well, look at Humboldt. They obviously were not impacted nearly as much as the rest of us. Again, those property values are pretty low. San Luis Obispo,
I don't know,
again,
you ever been to
That's why
Humboldt?
they're so
there's a whole lot
high.
of interesting stuff there. Use those charts.
Hey, man,
Yes.
if that eruption didn't happen, you know, the big blow up,
Yes.
would we be kind of on par if we like block out that spot, you know, with where we were coming up and then where we are now? Would it be a logical,
You mean if we didn't go crazy?
Yeah.
I think what you're saying, I don't know why my pointer's not working.
that one?
If, would this have just kind of progressively been in line?
Yeah, that's, okay,
Okay, there's probably a chart that says that somewhere,
okay,
but maybe, maybe not. But again, part of this eruption was just all the bullshit, pardon me,
crap,
was all of the stuff on the financing we were doing.
right.
All the liar loans and all that good stuff,
Yeah.
which, by the way, are lenders getting a little more creative with financing today?
Yes, they are.
Sorry.
I'm having lenders that are chuckling affirmatively, right?
Well, there's a difference, the true subprime is now.
Okay, the what?
And the true subprime.
What's the, someone mark their calendar, what's the date?
Did I say the number?
2015,
I
the
said
true subprime is back.
Yes,
Okay, I have no idea what that means. What does that mean?
that means as a true self-employed borrower, and it's only for self-employed people who
Okay.
don't report all their income on their taxes.
Stated income.
Absolutely, and it was always around, we just took advantage.
Who was aware of the stated income loans are back?
I did not know.
Raise your hand. I heard, I got 4 hands in the room. Okay. If, that's probably something we all should know. Now, again, I'm not gonna question what you're saying, assuming it's a true stated income that you can actually get. We should probably know that, because there may be a lot of us, myself included, walking around thinking, stated income is dead. It has been dead and it's not coming back. Because it wasn't that long ago that I had lenders in this room say, stated income will never come back. Right? Who's been in this room and heard that? Yeah, there isn't, stated income is dead for, which really sucks for people like us, because what kind of loan do we need when we go to buy a house? We need stated income. Okay, so at any rate, we're gonna be really long here, so let's buzz back
Counterfeit
because This is what they think's going on with mortgage. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this, but if any of our lenders, Dennis or others, feel that a little bit differently with this, the general consensus is that mortgage rates are still gonna be relatively low. By the way, these are forecasted numbers. This is Fannie, this is not CAR, this is Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae seems to think that at the end of the year, Fannie rates are gonna be 4.2 and go up a little bit next year. This is Freddie. The NBA seems a little more, a little less. You know, they seem have a different
Think of
opinion.
the words you're gonna use.
Which, by the way, this is a big difference. I mean, this is more than a 10% differential between what the Mortgage Bankers Association says and Fannie Mae says. And are you guys members of the NBA? I'm curious why they are so far different than what Fannie and Freddie say. It seems to me if Fannie and Freddie thought rates were going to be about that, why would their association, not their association, but why would the Mortgage Association feel differently? Right? I mean, if Fannie says they're going to be 4.5, why would I think they're going to be any different? I mean, who's controlling this stuff, right? So, yeah, I find that a little bit interesting. Same thing with NAR. National Association thinks they're even going to be higher. CAR seems to, which makes sense to me, CAR says, all right, Fannie thinks this, Freddie thinks that. Let's kind of split the difference a little bit. Oops. Let's split the difference a little bit and see. Can we sell houses at 4.5% interest rates? What'd you say? I hope.
I would hope.
Yeah, if we can't sell houses at 4.5% interest rate, we got a problem. This is an interesting chart which we won't look at. Fed funds rate, it's basically zero, it's 0.25%. This is what Janet Yellen says, it's not going to go up. Matter of fact, I was listening to CNBC this morning. Who's familiar with the quantitative easing stuff that's going on? They're pulling back from it. According to one of the talking heads on CNBC, they may actually start to, because they just started to pull back and they're starting to get a little nervous and they're thinking, well, maybe we want to do some more QE. What are we on? That would be QE4? So we've done 1, 2, and I think we've done 3. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that. So the government seems to think we still got some issues. Mortgage rates.
Oh.
Who's that?
Denver.
Why is he flipping us off? The reason he's flipping us off
Only
is
Lance would
because
see
there was an
that.
article in the newspaper
They're okay.
that said Ben Bernanke cannot do what? Refinance his house. You know why he can't refinance his house?
Can't qualify.
Because he doesn't have a job. He's no longer the Fed chairman. So it sounds like he needs to go, well, he actually can't, well, maybe he could do a stated income loan. Maybe he has other sort of income.
Yeah,
So-
the same article, he described the consultant.
What did he do?
He's a consultant.
He's a consultant, so he has income. All right? So, but
Anyone
maybe
who
he's
gets fired
1099.
becomes a consultant.
Maybe he's got a little business expenses.
Right.
Maybe he needs a stated income loan. Anyway, guys, this is gold. You guys, who needs? If you need some, who has trouble on a listing presentation? Oh, never mind. Everybody got it. Housing affordability. We go back to that. If you're having trouble on a listing presentation, or you've never done a listing presentation before, by the way, we're doing a class tomorrow on listing presentations. This is the type of stuff that you need to put in your listing presentations to make you sound like you know what you're doing. Okay? All right? Now, this isn't for every seller. Some sellers don't need all this stuff, but you need to have this stuff in your availability. Housing affordability is going down. Is that a problem?
Yes.
According to CAR, it's a problem. Who follows Bruce Norris? What does Bruce Norris say? When housing affordability goes down, what happens?
Prices go down.
Prices go up and interest goes up. It's counterintuitive, I know. But if you look at the charts, when things go up, people generally are more in value. People are generally more interested in buying them. And now that stated income loans are coming back, maybe there'll be more interest. And again, according to Bruce and according to Chris Thornburg, even though, by the way, if you were at this meeting, affordability going down, you would have thought that there was a fire in the building. Because it's, the intuitive response is affordability goes down, that means what? Less people can afford to buy, means less sales. Well, even with that, even if you look at CAR's projection, they're projecting an 8% increase in sales. And this is next year. and this is coming from the same organization that says affordability going down is a problem. Well, if it's a problem, why are you projecting 8% increase in sales next year? Right? Kind of makes you think through it a little bit. But at any rate, affordability is going down.
What's Bruce's number, 17%, right?
There you go. Who attended our market forecast last year? Bruce Norris's speech, minute number 17. I'd have a video for you, but I've been telling Ingrid for 4 months to go through and do little clips of the market forecast, and she just hasn't done it. But Bruce Norris in that video says, when affordability reaches, is it 17 or 18%? When it reaches 17 or 18%, which is pretty dang low, time to what? Time to do something.
Get a new job.
Time to, well, just time, the market's going to shift. We have a change. Well, we're a long way. We're 20 points or 18 points away from that. So don't let the affordability freak you out. Although that may still be a presentation, that still may be something that you want to show to your sellers. Okay? And it may just be a 2-second part of your presentation. You may not even talk about it. This may just be something you email as part of a who does a pre-listing presentation to their sellers? Yeah. It may just be say, hey, I'm going to see you on Tuesday. Here's a whole bunch of garbage. Take a look at it. Maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe it's not. If you find anything interesting, we'll talk about it when I see you tomorrow. Okay? Maybe you put that in there. I don't know. Home ownership rates. Our home ownership rates are still higher, are now below the United States, but we've always been below the United States. This goes back to 1984, so I guess that's no issue. Who's buying houses, home ownership rate by age of householder? Younger people seem to have kind of, under the 25s anyway. Median price is still above, I guess, what am I looking at? What am I looking at here? What's the median home buyer's age? You can tell me by looking at this.
I don't think this is home buyers anyway. This is just
Home ownership rate by age of household.
Ownership rates by age of householder. I think the age is over here, so I think the overall rate is about 45. So between 35 and 44, 40. So it looks as though the median home owner right now is about 45 years old. Who's working with people that are above 50 right now, buying a house? Who's working with people below that? Okay, well there you go. We're right in the middle, I suppose. Median price, I'm not going to go through these. By the way, we're going to go about another 12 minutes if you're watching the clock. If you have to leave at 10, you won't insult me. This is interesting. We were selling everything in 4 days above asking price, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, not anymore. Fewer homes sold above asking price in 2014. 49% of the houses sold were at below. 18% were at. 33% were above. If we ran that chart a year ago, probably 80% of everything that was sold above asking price. Okay? Is that a problem? I don't see. Who has list? By the way, who's taking 6-month listings?
Take a 6-month, yeah.
You need to be taking longer listings, guys. You know, listings are not going to be selling in 2 weeks and 3 days and like they used to. You know, if you're not taking a 6-month listing, I would say, why? Every listing I've ever taken in my career has been a 6-month listing. I've never taken for one less than 6 months.
I don't ask. I just
Oh, I
fill
don't
in the
even
date.
ask.
Yeah.
Just fill in the
It's a
date.
6-month listing. Well, I don't want to go for 6 months. That's fine. You can fire me anytime you want.
Or 9 months.
9 months, 12 months. Okay? But don't panic if your listings haven't sold in 3 days. Don't panic if you don't have 6 offers on your listings in the first weekend. You know, having a listing that's on the market for 30, 60, 90 days is, believe it or not, normal. Hasn't been normal for the last 7 years, but that is normal, okay? So that's why I think a lot of agents in this business and sellers alike are panicking a little bit, because if you've been, who's been in this business for less than 8 years?
Less than a year?
Less than a year.
Less than a
Then
year.
we would qualify.
I thought he
Less
said
than
8 years.
Less
Yeah, I
than
thought he
8
said 8
years.
years.
8
yeah.
years.
8 years, yeah. There are a lot of old timers in here. Either that or the rest of you are sleeping. Okay, asking price. I'm going to pass through this. This is probably interesting. I don't know what this is. international buyers. 36% of the buyers in California now are coming from China. Who's working with a Chinese buyer?
I have.
God bless you.
I have. Oh, yeah.
I gotta tell you, that's a tough nut. Who heard about my little adventure going down to Newport Beach? Nobody?
No.
I rented an office in Newport Beach inside of a Chinese lawyer's firm for 6 months because we were going to be millionaires. I was going to close Moreno Valley. I was going to move down there and get rid of all these agents. It was going to be great. Here I am. So, anyway, that's it. It's a great client if you can get them to close escrow and be prepared to negotiate all the way to the closing table. So, anyway, we'll see. Sure, first-time buyers. That might be interesting. You all need to spend more time and go through this. There's some nuggets in here that I'm just blowing right by. Regional housing markets. Okay, again, maybe this is part of a listing presentation, maybe it's not. Sales, San Bernardino County down year-to-date 11%, down 7.4% in Riverside. Unit sales, not prices. Okay. Median price, up San Bernardino County, this is year-to-date, 14, up 10%, 9.9% Riverside County. These are a little bit more regional. I don't know why I'm so intrigued with Sonoma and Napa, what's going on up there, those numbers. Actually, Napa Valley prices are down.
It should be.
I wouldn't have thought that. Earthquake, maybe so. So here again is our Southern California sales by count, 11.4. And by the way, if you're looking at the color coded, if it's between 20 and 10%, it's mauve. If it's between less than 10%, it's gold. That's what the colors are. Okay, so take a peek at that. The millennials. Who's a millennial in here?
What's the
All right, yeah, they're kind of the younger guys. California census.
I'm a millennial.
Take a look at that.
Me too.
Look at that. Millennial melees. Share of 18 to 34-year-olds that own houses. Oops. I don't know what that means. I'll tell you what I'm doing. My youngest son's graduating from college in December. Guess where he is not going to live when he comes back to Riverside?
At home.
He ain't living in my house. And it's not because I'm a jerk. It's because I know what he'll do if he lives in my house. He'll sit on the couch and play video games. Okay? And he's a good kid. He's a smart kid. He got his degree. There was literally a topic of discussion about one of the reasons that the real estate market is challenged right now is because we have a whole bunch of
Video
these
games.
people that don't move out of their houses and
Video
their parents let them stay there.
Yeah.
And they just say, what the heck? I was out at 18. It's foreign to me to actually be sitting at my, what's that? You were out at 14? Is that what you said?
I was out in 12th grade.
I don't get it, but when you think about it, when you look at the pool of buyers that are in that price range, who in this room bought a house before they were 35? Okay, huh. There's a lot of us, apparently, if we were born a few years ago, we'd still be living at home with mom and dad. I don't get it. But it is actually, when who has friends or family members who have an adult child living at home that you also think should be thrown out of the house? I don't know. So I'm going to do my part to help the economy. When my son said, I'm going to see him this weekend, and we're going to talk about his graduation ceremony in December, and I'm not even going to let him bring it up. I'm going to bring it up, because I've already brought it up. I'm going to remind him that come graduation day, you're welcome to visit, but the dog now has your bedroom, which is true. So he can't stay home. So if you have one of those kids at home, throw him out. It'll help the economy. Millennials not married. This is another thing. You guys don't get married anymore. I was 20 years old when I got married. It's true. I was 20 years old when I got married. What normally happens when you get married? What do you want to do?
Divorce.
Was that from Mike?
Mike got excited about this.
Well,
Yeah, he came out of his office for this.
we can laugh about it, but this is the type of garbage that keeps economists up at night trying to figure out what's going on with the market. When you're not getting married at 20 and 21 and 22 or even 25 or even 30, the need to go out and make a nest is less important. What the heck, I'll just live with my buddies, no big deal. It's one of the reasons those millennial numbers are like this. They're just plummeting. I mean, they're plummeting. And anyway, by the way, millennials were buying properties here. Why? Because we were giving them money.
They got that tax
Because we can get finance.
Yeah, they could get financing. Yeah. Okay, who's buying by ethnicity? This chart, I don't know, take it with it, whatever you want with it. Younger millennials, student loan debt. There's a lot of talk, who's got a buyer who is a millennial that has too much student loan debt to buy? I keep hearing that's a problem, I don't know. You think it's a problem, because a lot of discussion at CR about it. Buyers, many did not buy sooner because they have no urgency. If 33% of the people aren't buying sooner because they didn't have urgency, can we potentially create some urgency for those people?
Yeah.
Interest rates are low. Property values are continuing to rise.
Now's the time.
What more urgency do we need? Okay.
There was another study by Trulia that said rents are potentially 41% higher than owning your home. in
Okay.
Clark County.
It's cheaper to buy than rent. With a 4% interest rate, you can say that. But you've got 33% that were with no urgency, another 32% that basically said they were waiting to see if prices would stabilize. I think that's why the market slowed down fourth quarter of last year and the first quarter of this year. Property values were so hot, so fast. I think people are like, oh boy, what's going on? When property values didn't collapse in the first quarter, I think more people came into the market to engage. You've got 65% of the buyers that basically say, maybe I would buy, but I need some urgency and I'm waiting for prices to stabilize. I think you can take care of both of those issues. Who's doing a buyer's seminar anytime soon? All right, one hand in the room. Let's do that stuff. 64% said they can't afford to buy. There's another response to this, which I think is interesting. We'll talk about financial distress. I like this. I want the lenders to see if they could chime in, or anybody that can chime in on this. Most uncertain or doubtful that they could obtain a mortgage now. So the question basically is, these were questions that were asked to buyer. Could you obtain a mortgage if you applied right now? 45% of the people out there said, I don't know. 45, almost half of the buyers said, I don't know.
Hooking up with the lender to get the answer.
How about we educate them a little bit? Rates are, I think a lot of it, they're just scared. Dodd-Frank, the rules have changed, I hear it's so hard to get a loan, I don't know. These people potentially could buy a house, they don't know. So how about we tell them, you know? Make a different phone call. Mr. and Mrs. Tennant, Lance Martin, Coble Baker, Town and Country. Have you considered buying a house? Yeah, we have. Have you thought about qualifying? Well, apparently 45% of the people say, I don't know if I can. Well, would you like to take 10 minutes and talk to Dennis about it? No. Make the phone call, see who's available. Lenders will like this. This was an ad that was at one of those stupid little things they put in the USA Today. People would prefer the following over going through a home mortgage process. 23% would rather pay 10 pounds, 24 or 12% would rather spend 24 hours with the person they most dislike, 7% would rather get a root canal, 7% would rather spend a night in prison.
Well, the 12% kind of fits in with getting the home mortgage.
There you go. Now, this is meant to be funny. This is meant to be funny, but it goes back to this. Okay? If you're a buyer, maybe you're a little afraid. You're afraid of the process, which I think, is the process easier today than it was 5-10 years ago? Someone said no. I'm not in the loan business. I disagree with that. I think the process is easier for the following reasons. These are the rules.
Right.
If you fit into these rules, you're going to get along.
That's right.
10 years ago, the rules were a little bit less. My fallout ratio is significantly less today than it was 10 years ago. Significantly less. Does anybody disagree with that? Are people having more fallouts today than they had 10 years ago? I had huge fallouts. And why did they fall out? Because at the last minute, the lender failed to pull the rabbit out of the hat and said, oh, we can't do it. Now, there is no rabbit in the hat. It's either square peg, square hole, round peg, round hole. It either works or it doesn't. So I think the process is easier, but I do think the consumers are afraid of it. Attitudes towards home buying process. 50% of the people still like it, 34% are scared of it. Don't know. Okay, I'm gonna blow through a few more of these. Oh, this is a scary one. I don't know what you do with this, but according to this chart, we're finally out of the recession. Now, having said that, these are all of the recessions going back to 1948. 48, 53, 57, blah, blah, blah. And the recession of 2007. The color coding lines are accordingly. The amount of time it took to get out of the recession, this is when it started, this is the bottom, this is when they came out, or when we came out. Well, this is the most recent one. This is when it started, this is the bottom, we're out. It is the longest recession in the history of the country.
But also the deepest.
How's it feel? Who had got into the business or has been in the business since 2007? Who's tired? I'm the only one? I mean, what a brutal run. I mean, what a brutal run. I mean, if you've survived in this business, in this window of time, God bless you, okay? If you just got into the business over here, then, you know, it's been a tough run. If you're just getting into the business now, hopefully the worst is behind us, okay? That's what I'm talking with new agents on recruiting appointments. If I had talked to you 2 or 3 years ago, we would have had a different conversation. If I'm talking to you today, even though we got some problems, the worst is behind. And again, I don't know whether this is valuable in a listing presentation or a buyer's presentation to you, but maybe, maybe not. Take a look at it.
I don't see them.
Okay, we got more junk. I'm almost done.
A length of time.
U.S. economic forecast.
It's just
Okay, I'm just gonna look at 2 of these. The gross domestic product is supposedly gonna go up a little bit, and the disposable income for next year is supposed to go up a little bit. In theory, for this year. In theory, if you have more disposable income and you're spending it, how do you feel about things?
Okay.
It's a little bit
I
better.
understand, yeah.
So, we'll see what happens. Next year, they're projecting the GDP to go to 3, and the spend will go to 2.6, or remain at 2.6. Mom, we can talk about unemployment, artificial, not artificial, whatever it happens to be. But the forecast is 6.7, which I don't understand because I thought I just saw something that's unemployment's lower than that. What is unemployment today in the state or in the country? Nobody?
I think it's 7.8.
Okay, almost done. Stock market, did the stock market recover this morning?
Lost 200.
Still around 200?
Lost 200.
It was down 3.
Lost 3 when I was
left the
coming
house this morning.
on CNN.
Apparently we're not, who's afraid of Ebola? Mike? Mike and Ingrid?
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Especially now it's starting
Yeah.
to get closer
There's
to home.
somebody else's.
Okay, so here's our forecast
Yeah.
for
Another one of the
There's
nurses in
somebody else,
Texas.
a man or
Oh,
something.
yeah?
So,
I heard
this is what
another
Sierra thinks is gonna
I
happen.
don't know if it's man or woman.
We're gonna sell a few more houses, okay? A few more, by the way, this is a 5% increase from this, not from this. So, we're gonna sell some more houses next year. From their lips to God's ears. Price is gonna go up in the state, about 5%.
5% increase from this, not that.
Huh?
You said that's a 5% increase from 2013?
From
from
2014
2014.
to the,
If we're down to 8.2.
Yeah, no, it's just a 5% increase from the 380.5.
Yeah.
from the, oh, I'm sorry, what did I say? From
From 14 to 15.
It's been a long morning.
I see what you're saying.
Is why you guys gotta study these things. I'm going so fast, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. They're predicting the 5% increase in prices in the state. Anybody wanna jump out on a limb? What do they think prices are gonna do in our market in the next 12 months?
Go
Up,
up.
down, stable?
Stable.
Nope.
Stable?
Stable, maybe up 5%.
Level off, level off.
You've already.
Up, maybe up
Go
5.
down.
I don't know.
The affordability continues.
Chris Thornburg says up. I don't know what the percentage is, but who's going to I Survived Real Estate in 2 weeks from now? Okay, it's that big dinner thing out in the library. Actually, we have a couple of tickets. We should raffle those off. Look for an email from Stacy here in the next couple of days. We're going to give away a couple of tickets. She'll ask a trivia question or something.
Just reply to the email.
Huh? Oh, by the way.
Just
by
open
the
rates?
way, who attended our mixer about 3 weeks ago? That offer I made is still on the table.
Mixer.
Nobody has claimed the prize.
Where?
What prize was
What
that?
was that?
You know what?
Yeah, did I
I'm not
miss
even gonna
something?
mention it.
Thursday night,
I
and then
tried
I
to
got
give away
beer,
$500 at that meeting.
Call them all.
Nobody has claimed
I
it.
was here.
Which,
I'll
by the
take
way,
it.
No, no, no.
we're gonna put a deadline on that. If you don't claim it by
Oh.
next Wednesday, it's off the table. You got one more week. If you don't know what I'm talking about, meet your word at the meeting. You
Oh,
don't
I
get the
do know
$500.
what it's
I was
about.
there, I don't remember anything about $500.
Yeah, you were
I
in the
do.
back
I do.
At any rate, so this is what's going on here, this is what's going on there.
I had forgotten about
Market
it.
opportunities.
I left
Okay.
went to Corona,
So,
came back.
at any rate, it was a good conference. This is good data. If for no other reason, it's good for your business plan to help you try to figure out where you're going. And again, is there at least 3 or 4 slides in there that you guys can use in the presentation?
Yes.
All right, they're already on the board. All you gotta do is go grab them. Okay,
Yeah, here, we
Any
gotta
questions?
put this in front of the camera.
pass it?
Oh, does it fade out?
No? Anybody got any
Okay, I
comments,
like that.
thoughts? Love it, hate it? Huh?
Suzanne?
Good information.
Very helpful.
Okay, gang, all right, we're a little bit late, so let's get the heck out of here, and, thanks for coming.